story is powerful. Depending on how you use it, you can use it to kill, but you can also use it to heal.
In video games, when people die in the video game, it's a video game. They stand up the next game, right? When you restart the game, they are alive again. This is not our reality. When it comes to human beings, they can't just be rebooted and stand up and are back again.
Behind this facade that we create, the politician create, those in the position of authority create, there are human beings in there that are trapped. These human beings have their husband, their wife, their children, their uncle, their cousins. Can't we build a society that understand that these are human beings? All right. Hello, everyone. And thank you for joining us in today's episode of the Obehi Podcast. In the Obehi Podcast, we bring in different experts to talk about their life, their experiences in what they're doing, because we are interested in the story aspect of what they do, because that helps us to be able to connect with them and help to see the human being behind the brand. That is what we are mostly focusing on here. So if you are maybe the business owner, you are a founder, you are a service-based business owner, and you want to learn how to cut through the noise out there, because there are now more than 5 billion people on the internet, which means that there are a lot of people that are just replicating the Me Too type of content everywhere. But maybe you want to be able to cut through the noise and able to stand in front of your audience and speak to them so that they can feel you, they can understand it, they can know what is the why behind what you do. I want you to reach out to us. We have a story to asset framework, which is designed specifically for this. Because we believe so much in the power of storytelling. We believe so much in the power of your human experiences. We believe so much in what you have gone through in life that you have been able to transform, that other people can learn from. So this is why we are promoting the power of storytelling for business owner and for founder particularly. So today, of course, we are going to be talking with somebody who is going to be sharing her life experience with us. Her name is Petra, Dr. Petra. So I want to thank you so much for being with us. Could you share with the audience? Let's start from there. How do you describe yourself to a person you are seeing for the first time?
Wow. First of all, thanks for the invitation. Thank you for having me. It's a great honor to have this conversation with you today, Obehi. So how would I describe myself? Curious, serious, honest, resilient, loving.
That's lovely. That's lovely. I like to.
I don't know if my husband would choose the same adjectives. I don't know, but this is how I think.
We'll invite him to come and share his opinion. But anyway, that is for another day.
Good.
All right. So, Petra, tell me a bit about yourself. Did I pronounce that name correctly? Because I know that is a German name. So, is that pronounced correctly?
Perfectly correct.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much for that, yes. Petra. So give us the privilege to learn more about you. So what do you remember of you growing up? Did you grow up in Germany or in some other place?
I grew up in Germany. To be specific, I grew up in East Germany behind the Iron Curtain. And I think this is part of the story we are going to talk about today, right? What you emphasized over here in the beginning, what is this podcast about? It's about the story that people live through. And for me, it was being born in East Germany. And that's all that I knew, right? And as a little girl, as I was 9 years old, one morning I announced to my parents, when I grow up, I will go to America. And of course, they made fun of me, right? They thought I've lost my mind and how would this even be possible? And yeah. And I knew from my soul that this is what I had to do. I knew that this was my calling. I couldn't comprehend and I couldn't imagine how this would work out. But I knew deep inside there was something bigger that told me that I would go to America. And it took me a long time, but then the wall came down. I don't know if your listeners are familiar with the history. So I was in Berlin. I was studying at the university as a young woman, living what I could live in the socialist system. And then the wall came down, and I truly believed, and I couldn't speak about that, but I truly believed that God had teared down the wall for me to go out into the West, into the world. And I moved to West Berlin then, continued my studies at the university in West Berlin. This is where I met my husband, and then we moved together from Berlin to the south of Germany, then from South Germany to Switzerland. We lived quite some time in Switzerland. In Switzerland, I served as a volunteer firefighter for almost 10 years. And then in 2014, we moved to the United States. And this was many, many, many years later, right? I had not even thought about that dream of mine to one day be in America. I thought that's too late, I'm too old, all the things that we tell ourselves that it wouldn't come true. And here I am, right? And I think in a nutshell, this is the history and geographical story. And what led me here, yes, it was my husband, right? He accepted a job offer coming to America. But what prepared me for that transition was a lot of challenges in life, including health issues and all of that. But that, I think we talk about this later. First of all, this is the arch here,
All right.
being born in East Germany and now living in the United States of America.
All right, Petra. Thank you so much for sharing that. This is the power of storytelling. This is why we are continuously always redirecting people to that path. Now, before Germany was divided into these two parts that have become a big problem until the war was teared down. In fact, I used to tell people that the case of Germany is particularly relevant in terms of the power of storytelling. Why this is important is that before the war in Germany, the people that will later be treated as like animal were not seen as animal. They were seen like human being. Human being mean they were seen like husband, like wife, as the guy working in in the train station, working in the gas station, the guy working in the bank, the guy that's my neighbor. That is the image that the regular German know of these people. But it took one man, and of course, the other people that believe in him, to change that narrative. The following day, that guy that was your neighbor is no longer your neighbor. It's now justifiable to kill him or to submit him to the power of the day that want to crucify the people. I usually say that to mean that story is powerful in the sense that depending on how you use it, you can use it to kill, but you can also use it to heal. You can use it to build, because you can also use it to destroy. Storytelling is not good or bad. It's not positive or negative. It depends on what you do with that. I just wanted to sort of share that there in terms of the relevance of what I might like to ask you in terms of your experience growing up in East Germany. Okay, now, I didn't grow up in East Germany. The people that are listening to you now didn't grow up in East Germany. But can you give us the privilege of understanding how it was for you growing up in East Germany by the time this country was divided east or west? Not just physical east or west, but ideological east or west, which is the story is laced into our perspective of understanding of life. That because you are from this part of the same country, you are in this part, you are a different human being. You are from this part, you are a different human being. So share with us.
Thank you for the question. And yes, it was divided, right? And the stories we have been told and the stories that people from the West have been told are completely different. My husband grew up in the West. That's why I think I can say that I can compare the stories, right? To me, it was, we are safe. That's what we have been told, storytelling, right? I didn't feel like that. but the narrative was, okay, you are safe, you are taken care of, you don't have to think a lot. So there's one insurance, that's the insurance you have to have. There are no choices. And it was told that this is the good thing, right? This is the safety, the container where you are in and where you are safe. But it was very limiting. And also there was this, I don't want to say hate, but it was like hate. And what I later learned from people who grew up in the West, they've been told stories that people in the East are their enemies too, right? They are narrow-minded, they don't have good education, they are limited. No, it's not our identity, it's not our personality. We lived in limitations, but we are not limited.
Thank you for that. That is the power of storytelling again. I'm just saying that repeatedly to help somebody understand that story is powerful. That is what it is in both negative and positive side. I'm just trying to be on a neutral side here to help people understand the value in that thing we call storytelling. It is powerful. It depends on how you want to use it. But we hope that by the time you own this power, you use it for the good of the common man. But know that in itself is a powerful instrument. Story is responsible for how we build our metropolis, our society, how we build our heaven, and how we build our hair. James Allen, the English writer, said we need to thank the artists because they are the creator of the other world. That other world, we should be courageous enough to look at it and see how it reflects us. Because at the end of the day, sometimes neuroscientists will also help us understand that sometimes we don't even know the difference between what is real and what is not, for as long as we continue to repeat a certain version of it. That is why it was possible for somebody to come to those in the east of Germany and be fed a different one narrative, and to the other side, they are fed a different narrative. It could even be possible that the person that is feeding this is one person, but they're just interested in the division. Okay, I don't want to go more in that. But I'm also interested. What was your kind of aspiration at this time you were growing up and see this war that is rated separating both of you? What was your aspiration like? That okay, these people will be able to meet them one day. Okay, no, let's look at it this way. Let's look at it this way. Let's take a step back before the war. Before now, I'm not talking of the war. I'm talking of the war. Now, before the war was erected, how was Germany? Tell me more about that. Or maybe if you were not born then, but at least you would have heard from your parent, from your grandparent. Tell me about that.
I was not born before the wall was erected, so I don't have personal memories. And what I heard from my parents, and they were not very outspoken about that, because this was part of the story that we've been told, right? To not talk about things that are not present or that are not, yeah, relevant right now. So, and who considered what's relevant, right? So I don't know much about what Germany was like before the wall was erected. My parents lived in the area where they always lived and still live. So that's a limited area again. And they said they did their daily life. They went to work, so they grew up, then went to work and did what they did every day, more or less. And that is what I heard about Germany before the wall. And after the wall was erected, my parents even said nothing really did change for them. It was again the daily life, right? And that's the story, talking about storytelling, that's the story I grew up with. This is how you live, this is what you do. And my internal story didn't match that. I don't really know when you say what was the aspiration. I'm not even sure what the aspiration was. There was this feeling, this knowing, this soul calling. There's more to it. And I wanted to experience people on the other side, right? Outside of the wall. I wanted to experience and see and feel how they are. Because in my childish mind, I thought they are people like I am. They can't be that different. They are humans too, human beings too, and they have kids. They love their children as we love our children. I didn't have children at that time yet, but this was my assumption, and I wanted to know that. I wanted to find out for myself. Probably this was the driving force. And
Thank
you
you
are
so much
right.
for that.
I agree completely that you say storytelling is a tool, like each and every tool, like a hammer. A hammer is a tool. What you do with it makes all the difference. You can build something or you can destroy something, exactly as you earlier said about storytelling. Completely agree.
Thank you so much for that. But of course, there is a similar story that is going on right now in the world. No, in that if you go to between Israel and Palestine, or what is was originally Palestine, there is a story being fed now by our politicians, saying that these people are different from these people, and of course, it helped them to justify the massacre that is going on there. So that by the time we paint the image of the enemy to be evil, it doesn't hurt us anymore to just kill them. Because now we are not killing human beings, we are killing animals or killing idea. But it is a human being that is actually dying. You know, I've done more than 1,000 episodes here. I've happened to talk to a lot of people, including very intelligent people. So there was this analyst that I interviewed, they were telling me that they needed to do an experiment in the United States with the children that are play video game, because sometimes our life are play like a video game, only that it is real what we are really going through. Because in Israel and Palestine today, Palestinians today are dying. They are real human beings. People are really being burned to death there because of the narrative somewhere in Washington or in Gaza or in Jerusalem. Because somebody feel that it is okay, but it's not okay. We take the story of human being and turn it into something else, but people are dying. We look at it like a simulation. Like, let's just play on it. They are dying. Okay, how many people? We look at people as statistics. So this analyst was saying they needed to make the children understand that the video game you are playing could be a replicant of a real life. They make sure that they could see blood in it. Okay, but the children still feel that, okay, but it's kind of normal. But when they take the children that play the video game to a real life where somebody have killed another human being, because that human being is on the ground now, it's a corpse. It become a dead, a lifeless entity. Now come and see how it look like. It changed something in the mind of the people. So it is important that we come to terms with this reality that behind this facade that we create, I mean the politicians create, those in the position of authority create, that are human beings in there that are trapped, that are dying. They say it's true of slavery. They say it's true of colonialism. That we are not really fighting idea, we are fighting human beings. These human beings have their husband, their wife, their children, their uncle, their cousins. They are dying. Can't we build a society that understand that these are human beings? That is the question. We can change that narrative. We can tell that story so that we don't look at the other one as just idea. We look at him or her as a human being. If it were happening to you, if they were burning down your city, how would you feel? I think we need to tell that story. I don't know if it makes any sense to you, Ivo.
It does. It completely does. And you mentioned a couple of things here that I would like to refer to. One is what you earlier said, the brain doesn't really make a difference between what's imagined, what's experienced, what's remembered, and what's reality right now, right? So we go through past experiences in our mind and feel it's real. So the hate we once experienced, we bring into the present moment. It's easy for our brain because it cannot differentiate. So that's actually part of what I have been doing for too long. So brain studies and understanding how the brain works and the mind work. So this is one thing, right? That we bring our experiences into the present moment, and what happened to us, we transport this into the current situation. And the other thing, the video games that you mentioned, yes, I think this is really, really bad. Let me share my personal opinion here, because when in video games, when people die in the video game, it's a video game. They stand up the next game, right? When you restart the game, they are alive again. This is not our reality. When it comes to human beings, they can't just be rebooted and stand up and are back again. Death in this lifetime is permanent. It's permanent. This is real. We lose our loved ones. We cannot replace them. We cannot just hit a button, restart the game, and everything is fine again. And what I think what also feeds into this, dissociation from empathy, from compassion, is isolation. When people are isolated, when people are alone, when they are by themselves, we lose that touch, we lose that connection with each other. What I think is essential for us as humanity to grow, to be with each other, to be compassionate, to support each other instead of fighting each other. You hit on a topic that really, goes deep into my heart.
Thank you so much for that. And that is what we do here. We go very in depth in the conversation because we're talking about human being. And when we talk about human being, we cannot just talk about the surface or mere statistics. We talk about how we feel. What if it were me? How would I feel if it were my child, if it were my uncle, my brother, my sister? Because when we reason like that, then we can see that it is not possible for us not to understand it. We can understand it. Every child have a mother or have had a mother or have a father. By the time we look at it like that, we see that it's no longer about black and white. It's not about Republican or Democrat. It's no longer about Israel or Palestine or the Jews or the gender. It becomes human being. That is what we're interested in. We want to bring human being into the narrative. Even in business environment, we are telling founders and business owners, let's talk about you, your sentiment, your feeling. And let's use that to connect to those you are serving. Because when you do that, the way that you create your product will be different. The kind of product that you create will be different because you are creating for people that look like you, that feel like you, that understand like you, that have the same sentiment, they say dream, they say vision like you. Otherwise, they're just like numbers. I said 3 numbers. No, you said to 2 or 3 that look like you. You are one of them. When somebody there is this idea of 1,000 true fans. I have an article on that, very interesting one. Maybe you have 3,000 people follow you on social media. It might appear that is a small amount of people. No, that is not small amount of people. That is 3,000 human beings in this world following you. They are your fan. That is huge. We need to understand that each of these 3,000 is a human being. We need to take the story to that level. Anyway, you were saying something about the mind or something, that this is what you do. Okay, what do you really do? Tell us what you do within the area of business.
Okay, what do I do in my business? So I basically work with the mind, and I bring together the scientific knowledge from brain science, from brain health studies, and neurology and psychology. And I combine it with spirituality also, and we guide the mind to create a better, healthier life. All of that together. And I mainly work with executives, with entrepreneurs, founders, in people in leadership position, and I work on all areas of their lives. What what challenges they might be facing in that current moment. Because I think you can only be a good leader when you are healthy, when you are in a good spirit, and when your life is in balance. Homeostasis is when we are healthy, right? And the mind is the most powerful force that we have to guide and to build the life that we want and how we can inspire and influence and lead others. In a nutshell, I combine science and spirituality and help people to solve their problems and create fulfilled, meaningful lives.
Thank you for that. I want you to share with me uh, how do you connect to other human beings? Because now we talked a lot about storytelling. We talked about you growing up in Germany. Then we talk about also the East and West Germany, how the politicians have used us against us. We talk about also the situation going on in Israel and Palestine, as it will be called, because until the 1940 or something like that, there was no Israel, no? But there were still people there. But of course, now different narrative have been created, and we sort of help to justify the massacre that is going on today. So we are again saying that we want to be able to connect human being. How do you connect the human being that you are serving? Share with me.
I think I can say I connect on a soul level first, right? Understanding what this person is going through. It's a heart to heart connection. This is where it starts. And then we connect on a soul level, so to say. I can read people's soul plan and can help them to adjust that they are in alignment again with their soul's mission. And it starts with a conversation. It starts with sharing where they are at, what's going on in your life. Tell me about what's bothering you. Tell me about what's challenging you. Tell me where you feel stuck, and let us connect on that human level. Because science, information, solutions, this is what's available, right? We can pull that in. But what we need is someone who has your back, someone who is with you through the journey, someone who knows the next step and encourages you to do the next step and show you the resources that you have. Oftentimes people have tried so many things already and it didn't bring them forward to the point where they wanted to be. And sometimes they can't see what they still have available. And people come and connect and they are desperate. What do they need first? They need someone who understands them and someone who knows what the next steps are and goes with them. It's not just pointing and say, hey, this is what you should do. Go and see if this works out for you. It's a team, it's a connection, and that's what I think is so important. It's not a one fits all approach. It's an individual, tailored journey together.
All right. All right. Now, when you have a client in front of you, okay, let's call him or her again, another human being like you. What are you really looking for in this individual? Okay, let's look at it like this. How do you diagnose him or her to know what she or he really needs?
I think I hear behind the words or beneath the words. So what people are telling, the story that they are sharing is the story that they tell themselves. Right? And you can see the picture when you're in the frame. So people can see what's going on outside of them. They are still in that story that they've been told and continue to tell themselves. So reframing the story, that's what I'm looking for. And when you say, how do I figure that out? So I listen, I really listen deeply, and I listen and pay attention to what is conveyed, what is said beyond words. And that's where I can connect and step in and help to reframe the story, to see it from a different angle, to use that tool, storytelling, and turn it into something beautiful.
Absolutely. And what a coincidence.
Right?
Every 14 days, we have a storytelling series on business. Tomorrow, for example, we're going to be talking about reframing. Reframing is a topic that we're discussing tomorrow. This is important because you see, many people say, this have happened to me, this have happened to me. Okay, we go back to Germany again during the crisis time. Many people, particularly within the area of psychology, we know a man called Viktor F. Frankl. So Viktor F. Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, was in a very precarious situation, but yet he was writing, and he wrote a book that became one of the most important in developmental psychology today, as a man's search for meaning. So why I'm bringing that in is that it is important that we develop the instrument to be able to reframe our situation. We cannot change the thing that is going to happen because it doesn't depend on us, but it depends on how do we interpret it, how do we reframe that situation in a way that it doesn't kill us, in the way that it doesn't control us, but we can control it. Because what is going to happen is going to happen. Okay, now, if you are a driver, you have a car, you are driving this car, you are enjoying it, going. The thing that you can control is that you don't hit somebody. You don't hit somebody you can control, but you can't control that somebody don't hit you. How can somebody hit you? Somebody can hit you from the front, from the two sides, left and right, and from your back. All these three, and also from the up. Sometimes also on the ground can also get broken. None of this is under your control, irrespective of how intelligent and how smart you are in your steering. Which is to say, the one that you can really control is even a small percentage. Which is to say, something will always happen beyond your control. But what do you do with that when it happens? You reframe the situation in a way that you can make sense out of it. Because you are not going to have everything under your control. It's not possible. You don't control the rain. You don't control the sun. You don't control the politics. You don't control the economy. You don't control the religion. If you are the Pope, you don't control the politics. You don't control the war. Okay, there are certain elements of it that you can control. But at the end of the day, when does the inevitable happen? How do you reshape the narrative? How do you reframe it? So that is an important conversation that we're having tomorrow. And thank you for for pointing out that, Petra. That is really important.
It's really important. And what a quote unquote coincidence in my life. Coincidence doesn't exist. I believe in coincidence, but what is synchronicity, right? That we are talking about exactly that topic. That's so important, obviously, to both of us.
Absolutely. I believe it. I believe it. You have had experience. Okay, I go back again to what we do with founders and business owners. That it is important for us to clarify where you're coming from, your story, your experiences. Because after we do that, it becomes the basis, it becomes the blind that through which you see reality, you see the product that you are creating, and you see who you are creating it for, you see where you are going. You basically create the rule through your experiences. Okay, now, in your experience, you are coming out from east of Germany. Okay, now, this is a United Germany, no? But you have had a particular experience. Now, you are serving a people, you have developed a business. Is there any way that your background, where you are coming from, the story that you have told yourself and the one that others have told you is relevant to what you are doing today? Share with me.
Absolutely. Yes, of course. I mean, there are no limitations, there are no limits, right? And I think this is how my mind works. Even though things seem to be impossible, even though we might not see the solution now, deep inside, I know it's possible. And I think this is part of who I am, who I became from growing up in East Germany. There is always a solution. And as long as I can believe in that, as long I can visualize that solution, I can be contagious in a good way, right? I can send that energy, and my people, my clients can join me in that frequency, in that energy. And then when they can see it, when they can believe it, when they can visualize it and feel it, then we create the miracles that we are creating. And I wrote about those miracles that we've created together in my first book. I think that resilience and that belief that there is something bigger, this is what I bring into my business, and that never giving up, right? Do I struggle? Of course, we all do, right? Is it always easy? Absolutely not. Are there challenges that seem impossible to be solved initially? Yes, of course. We all face that. But deep inside, I have this really strong belief that there is a solution for whatever the situation might be right now, right? Whether it's a health issue, a relationship issue, financial issues, political issues that you mentioned earlier, there is a solution, and we have to take control. Usually it's taking back control of the parts that we can control, right? I love the example that you shared earlier with the car. I use this example very often, right? You are the driver. If you are the driver of your life, not taking the driver's seat, if you go into the back seat, you know who is riding your car? Usually it's fear. And fear makes the decision, not you. So it's time to go back and accept that position that you really have to own. You have to be the driver in your car that we call life, or you have to be the pilot. You have to be at the steering wheel and accept that responsibility. Right? It is a responsibility. Taking back control is being empowered and accepting that responsibility to do what we can do, what is in our power, what we can control. And then the ripple effect will lead to more control of what seems to be outside of our control. We will expand that circle of what we can control.
Yeah, that's so true. I love that. I love that. I love that. Challenges are not going to be limited. They're not going to stop. Les Brown, the famous African American motivational speaker, would say, they will come in a truckload. So don't think it's going to be few. That no, no, no. If you have, yesterday I was talking to a person who said, okay, I don't have a car now. I'm taking taxi to be able to move to my destination. And he was saying, if I have a car now, I don't have problem anymore. I said, no, you don't have a car. You have the problem of not having a car. By the time you have a car, you have the problem of having a car. Because now you are not buying fuel to fill your car. That is one of the problems that you need to face. When you have a car, now you need to have a problem of having your tire break down. That is the problem of having a car. The person that don't have a car don't have that kind of problem. If you have a car, you have the problem of somebody coming and smashing your car. That is the problem of those that have cars. So if you don't have car, you have other problem. If you are rich, you have rich problem. If you are poor, you have poor problem. If you are living in Europe, you have Europe problem. If you are living in Africa, you have Africa problem. You cannot be in Africa and have Europe problem. So if we reframe the situation like this, we will see that, okay, I have a role to play here. It's not, everything is not just done for me, okay? There is a high percentage of what is happening around you that is happening to you. But there is also you happening to them too, because it's a relationship. So that control, I think it is very important that people understand that you have a role to play here. Not everything is done for you. You also have a role because you are occupying a space in this entire universe. You are occupying a space. You need to account for that space. All right. Now, challenges. When you look at the people that you are working with, Petra, tell me, what kind of challenges do you see that they face that you're helping them to deal with? Share with us.
Oftentimes, people come to me and they think they have a different problem to solve first, right? Often they come with business isn't flowing as it should be. They are stagnant, for instance. And when we dive deeper, when we go into what's beyond the words, right? There are often other problems. This might be health problems, relationship problems, addictive behaviors, for instance, which I consider to be a health problem as well. So usually what presents on the surface is not the cause of the issue. Often those are two different things. They are intertwined, of course, they are connected. But where do we start? What is it, right? And people feeling stuck. To put it in one sentence, when the business is stagnant and health is not improving or going the wrong direction, people feel stuck. They can't get out of that situation. And this is where we usually start. We transform. It's a transformation that we create together. And figuring out what helps them the most, like where to start with, what will untangle all the things, dissolving that knot. I think that's part of the connection, the storytelling, what you mentioned earlier. The human connection that I make is to find out what's the true problem. And this is where we start. And then a lot of other problems will dissolve as a result of that. And it's deep work, right? As you said, it's a responsibility. Step into your role, accept that, and be the person you're meant to be.
That's true. That's true. All right, now, Petra, for those that are listening to you, they want to know where to start from. Of course, they should reach out to you. We're not ashamed to promote our business here because that is what we do. We are business owner. I own a business, you own a business. So I encourage people to promote what they are doing so that people can know that they are there. So if they want to know where to start from, perhaps they also want to come to you for help. How can they reach out to you? And where would you want it to start from getting to know you better?
Shoot me an email, shoot me a text message, and let me know what you're interested in. And then we have a conversation together and find out what we can do together to solve the problem. And what you said is correct. We are ashamed oftentimes. We are taught, again, it's a story that we have been told, right? As an entrepreneur, you have to figure it out and you have to come up with the solution on your own. We've been told, and we believe that story, many of us, that when we seek help, when we seek support, this is weakness. And it's the opposite, right? The air is thin up there. Entrepreneurship usually is connected to being lonely. But this is not the truth, right? When we cooperate with like-minded people, with people who have different experiences, with people who have done it before us, why do we have to invent the wheel again on our own? So reaching out and diving deep to me is not weakness, it's the opposite. If you really want to be tough, if you really want to be brave, you have to go deep, deep into your emotions, deep into what's bothering you, what you struggle with, and sharing that honestly. I think that's the first step. So if you reach out, please feel free. Let's have a conversation and see how we can support you on your journey to fulfill your soul mission. That's why we are here. That's what I strongly believe. We have a mission. Our soul has a plan. And when we understand that mission, when we align with our soul, what our soul is wanting to do here, then we can create miracles.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Petra. It really has been an interesting conversation here. And of course, I know that we haven't done it all. We haven't said it all because here we are always here to reaffirm our position, to continue to add value to the people that we are serving. And like I said in the beginning, If you are in a business, you are a founder, you happen to be in the trap of always uh, quoting statistics for people, replicating what other people are doing because you are not able to go down and really dig out your story and use it as a frame, use it as a blinder to be able to reach out to people. We are telling you that it is possible for you to reach out here at obehi14.com, where we help you to leverage the power of your story because you have an experience. One person said that since humanity showed up on Earth, we have been about 170 billion. But what I usually say to that effort is that each of us is unique. None of us is a mistake. Nature did not make mistake. The universe did not make mistake that you are here. For the fact that you are here should be a blessing for you and also a responsibility for you to be able to show up. Your story is yours to tell. You cannot leave it to other people. You can't say, oh, they will add me to it. No, 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 you can't do that. You need to champion your story, own it. Because what happened to most people is that they just cry because something have happened to them. And of course, we have said about it throughout this conversation that some things will happen. Sometimes they will tend to crush you. But what do you do with that? Because if you manage to get out of that problem, now you are mature that you can show people also get out of it. That is actually why the role of coaching is very important. That become a huge industry today because people need to first of all go through things. When they have come out of the other side of it, then they can show also other people because there are a lot of amateur out there. There are a lot of people that are confused in our world. So we need to leverage our story and use it as an instrument, as a tool to be able to help other people to overcome their own challenges too. And come to think of it, you are a human being. We are saying connect to other human beings that look like you. It's about the simplest way to do it. Because now, if you are trying to be like who you are not, it is difficult. You need to first of all pretend to be like that person, speak like the person, dress like the person. It's more complicated like that. It's what you can do is to be who you are. If you are who you are speaking from your vantage point. So once again, Petra, thank you so much, sister. It's been a pleasure here talking with you. And of course, we know that you will come back again to talk more because I see that you have a lot of books there. That is food for thought. We'll come back for that next time.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Obehi.
Have a wonderful time.